We're here at the beautiful Oceanside Artland Gallery, and I am joined by the brilliant fluid artist, Jennie Deveau. Welcome to Gallery 902.
Thank you very much, Veronica.
I'd like to go back to where this first started for you. Were you always artistic, or was it more crafty? Where do you feel it began for you?
I think more crafty. When I was younger with my mom, she, I guess I could call my mom an artist. She was a wedding cake maker.
That's definitely artistic.
That is
that takes skill.
Yeah,
and
it's not the wedding cakes that you see today either. It's the 4 or 5 tier wedding cakes with the layers in between, and she was incredible at it. So she taught me the skill. So I was able to help her, and when she finished, I continued for a little while, and then my mom was also a quilter. So back in the day, they hand quilted a lot, but we were fortunate enough to have machines. So my mom made quilts all the time. My whole family has quilts. There's quilts in Toronto, Ontario. My family has quilts everywhere. So she taught me how to sew. So I learned how to do that. And then that stayed with me as well. So I still quilt to this day. And I self-taught, learned techniques to be able to quilt for her on a machine rather than hand quilt, because it's very hard to hand quilt, and as she got older, it's harder to do that. So
it's very tedious.
It is. It's very small, tiny work. So I self-taught myself how to quilt on a machine, and so I continued, and I continued to do that, and I still do to this day.
I love that you both were able to bond over that, because really quilting is such a personal thing that you can include parts of yourself or things that mean something and then hand those down.
Right. I am the youngest of 8 children. So my siblings were all grown up and gone by the time I was at that age. So it was me and my mom and my dad. So my mom worked her whole life until, when she retired, and that's when actually I was in the prime age that I was around, and that's when I learned how to help her do all those things and the things that she taught me to quilt. So I kept that going, and then I continued when there was something that came up, if I wanted to make something, or I would just try. I'm not the only one in my family who is very creative. I have a couple of sisters who are very crafty, and we just love to create. And then I continued, and every time I find something new, I'll give it a go. I'll give it a try. If I don't fall in love, I'll let it go. And if I fall in love, then this happens.
So if it excites you, you want to do more.
Yes.
And I think that you have this lovely circle, craft circle.
I do.
Of girlfriends.
I do. It's been a few years ago, maybe probably 7 years ago. I joined the funeral business and left healthcare for a little while and met some incredible people in that field. You need to be a certain kind of person to work that field. And I met 2 amazing ladies, Michelle and Kathy. Michelle and I worked side by side in Digby, and Kathy in the funeral business. And Kathy worked at one of our establishments in Halifax in the same funeral business. And we met, and I discovered that they were as crafty, and we became a circle, and we still are a circle to this day. Each have our own techniques, our own ways. We have watercolored, we have alcohol inked. They both still are heavy into alcohol inks, and they are incredible at it. And watercolor as well, they can both do that. I created many items. I don't have those here with me, but and have sold many items from alcohol ink and watercolor. When we had the ability to create and make large amounts of stuff. So that's what we did. We created our circle. It didn't matter where we were. We went on vacation together and created there. We've gathered in each other's homes and created there, and it just gets you away from life and let this happen.
I think being in the health profession and the funeral industry, really those are heavy.
They are.
They weigh on you. There's a lot of stress and pressure.
Yes.
So the fact that coincidentally, all of you had something else to bring to the table, creative, this other outlet.
Yes.
Do you feel that it kind of went beyond the art for you guys?
They're my bubble. They are in my bubble. When we were not able to get together, we made a way to get together. So we would FaceTime.
During COVID?
During COVID.
Okay.
Because Kathy is in Halifax, so we don't always have the ability to get to her. So she would set up her station, I would set up mine, Michelle would set up hers, and we would FaceTime each other in, and we would create and still be together.
So you're in Digby.
Yes.
Because this is where you've
Yes.
lived your whole life.
My whole life
And one friend is Halifax and another...
is in Digby.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So it allowed you to have your Zoom circle.
It is. Thanks to COVID.
Now, did they taught you the alcohol art?
Kathy actually had a piece on her desk at the funeral home in Halifax, and Michelle and I seen it, and we were like, what is this? And how did this happen? And she just started telling us, and I think we shopped at every place on the way home to be able to buy products to even attempt to create something. It was incredible, and it hasn't stopped.
Now, during COVID, I know for every artist, it meant something different and they wanted to give something different during COVID.
Right.
You took that opportunity to discover a whole new part of yourself.
Right. So prior to COVID, this was not a thing for me. It was alcohol inks, watercolors. I got very interested in watercolors just because it was so easy, portable. You could do it anywhere. So you could travel and still watercolor and still be creative while you're on the move. And then one day I noticed on Facebook, I had noticed a paint pouring group. And I thought, oh, what is this? So I clicked on, I think the photo on the group is what caught my interest, and I had never seen anything like it. So I clicked on it, and when I got inside that group and they let me join, it was just like, what is that? Like, it was incredible to see the talent and the work.
Something came alive. And
I
can see it.
Yeah, it was just, there is a technique. There's so many techniques that you need to learn. So, and I am that kind of person. I will give it until I perfect it. I need to perfect it and know that I can create it, and I will keep going. So there's a whole world of paint pour artists out there. If you're looking, you will find them. They have videos, YouTube channels. They have so many forums that you can learn from, and that's how I learned how to paint pour.
You just watch them all.
I never had any idea of what it was, and then the products that they were using. Who would have ever thought that you could do that? So I researched, and I spent a lot of time on YouTube and joined every Facebook paint pouring group that I could.
Are there that many?
Oh, there's many. There's artists all over the world. So I self-taught myself. So I found a technique that I thought, okay, this isn't too intense. You don't need a lot of products. You just need the right consistency. So I went off to the dollar store in our little town and found some paint and some canvas and practiced. And the first time it didn't come out that bad. So I thought, okay, I can do this. So I practiced a little bit on those dollar store things, and then, as I said, go big or go home, and off I went to get the products that is actually going to make things happen. So that's what I did, and when I find the technique, I will keep doing it until I get it, and then I will move on. If there's another technique that I see or a design, I will research it until I figure out how they got it. And then there's artists that some got it, they have it, and some haven't. So I follow the ones that really have it because I want to know how they made that happen. And everybody has different techniques, so you don't always have the ability to get the products that are required for paint pouring here for certain techniques, so you need to shop abroad. So not in the beginning, but as I really got into it, I discovered a company in the UK, and it's called Little Piggy Pigments, and they are sold by a fluid art company. And two wonderful ladies, two incredible artists, created this product. And once you use that product to create, there's no going back.
You can't go back.
The colors, the way they work, you start with powder. So it's not like paint out of a tube. You start with powder, you create your paint, and
so you really need to follow a recipe.
A recipe.
To know.
It is by the book recipe for certain techniques. So these Little Piggy Pigments, Shaylee Carruthers is one of the amazing artists that created these pigments, and she created what we call the bloom technique. And she uses her pigments in that, and it is incredible. And she can do other techniques, but the bloom is hers. And
so you were really trying to hone in on one technique.
Yes, at a time.
Perfect it.
Yes. Yeah, you would never start with a bloom. You would never start with,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You might start with just a straight cup pour. You pour your paint in a cup and you pour it on your canvas. That is simple, it's easy to follow. All your paint's the same consistency. And then the more you get into it, there is more techniques that require different products, maybe a hair dryer, maybe a heat gun, maybe a straw, maybe you blow on it, or so there's different techniques, different paint consistencies, and each technique requires a different level. So, you know, I never started there. I never started at the bloom.
I can't believe you started at the dollar store.
I started at the dollar store, yes. My husband is grateful that I started at the dollar store. Maybe not so grateful now.
It's amazing, though, that you pushed yourself to watch and learn and find these products. And like you just said, they're expensive.
It is expensive.
So you have to really have that passion.
You do.
Something I'm noticing, too, is that it's not just on canvas.
Right.
So what kind of space do you have to have at home to work with this?
When I started paint pouring, I just had a table. Any other crafts that I've done don't require the space that this requires. So I started with a table and a tablecloth from the dollar store and paints and canvas, and then it just kept growing and growing to now I need shelves, and now I need this, and you can only hide so much product, right? So 2 years ago, just as COVID was starting, my husband and I decided to revamp the basement, and our children are grown and all moved out, and it was the opportunity for me to create a space for me. And so that's what we did. And my husband is amazing and so supportive. There's no questions asked. Whatever I come home with, he doesn't question how many bags I have. What did you buy today? There is never a question. He supports me no matter what I do. And he created my space for me. He is a jack of all trades, and even though I changed the plan a couple of times, he just went with it, and I have a beautiful space in my basement now to create with cabinets, tables, drying racks, you name it.
It means so much more too because he helped you
Yes.
to do that.
Oh, I could have never done it.
I'm picturing you coming in the door with lots of Michael's bags.
Just on days when he's working, right?
My heart is beating so fast. I'm so excited, Jennie. Okay, tell us everything, step by step here, what we're gonna do.
My heart's beating faster than yours. I am no professional. I am not. But I am going to try to create a bloom for you guys.
Live on Gallery
Live,
902.
can you imagine? This is what one of my blooms look like. But this is modified. I'm not gonna modify tonight. I'm just gonna pour a bloom.
Can you explain what modified would mean?
Once you've created, then you manipulate. This one, I would have used the end of a paintbrush and made petals to pull them in. Excellent. To make it more shaped like a flower.
This is more freeform.
Right, I'm just gonna let it go. So this is one of the techniques I talked about, and it is how they came up with it, I don't know. This is just the version that I use, and this one works for me. Nowhere's near like Shaylee, but yeah, this one works for me. So multiple different consistencies, multiple different paints, multiple different products that we have here.
These colors are amazing.
All of what you see right here is little piggy pigments.
Little piggy
That is all I've brought. So these paints are actually hand mixed by me. It started with a powder, and I have created this paint out of those little piggy pigments.
Because this is your recipe, even though you're using someone
It's someone's recipe.
Yes.
I have just adopted and maybe tweaked here and there to create, but when you find something that works, if it's not working, you look beyond, but if it is working, you don't.
May I ask, do they have, because they're not just orange and blue,
Right,
teal.
there is, I think she's released 90 some pigments as of right now.
Okay.
This one here I brought it's macaw and it's iridescent. So it brings out that more of a color shift
we saw
than, yeah. And I brought two different blues. One I think is Raven, and I took them out and put them in clean containers for you guys. So yeah,
It's not going to be clean when we're done.
Yeah, the names aren't there anymore. So the paint that we're going to start, of course, my tile is, I'm just painting on a ceramic tile, and I have stuck it here so that I don't make that much of a mess. If I was home, everything would be free flowing. And
I would like everyone to know that you have recycled a cake turner.
cake turner.
Yes, see, we're going back to the baking.
Just a cake turner.
It's perfect.
That's all it is. If I was creating big, I have the gear at home set up, created to create big, but we just need little for this. So this here is just regular house paint.
Oh,
You do not touch the consistency. You need a specific kind. You don't want flat, you don't want eggshell. It is just a basic white house paint. That is your thickest product. So this product is going on first, just in a pile. My paint is all mixed. I did that and got it all prepped yesterday, so I was ready to go. You can't have no lumps, you can't have no bumps. It needs to be perfectly smooth. So
are we starting?
we're just gonna make a pile. We're just gonna let it happen. So this is, that is just the base. That is all it is. You can spin it and move it around a little bit. You can also manipulate. It'll go, I have this really attached to this. So your pillow, this is what they call the pillow for the bloom. It is the thickest paint that you're gonna use. And of course, a little bit of fire is not gonna hurt anyone, but I'm just gonna remove the air bubbles because we don't want air bubbles
Oh, this
in
reminds
our
me
paint.
of pottery, because I do pottery. So you have to
Okay.
get all of the
See, I haven't tried
you
that
work
before.
things out, but meaning it's important that the bubbles
Right.
are out.
So remove as many bubbles as you can. And then we're gonna start adding our piggy pigment. So this is mixed to the right consistency needed for the bloom technique. So we're just gonna pour. We're just gonna pour some in the middle. The whole purpose of the different layers and the different consistencies is you don't want these paints to sink to the bottom. You want them to go over the top
Flow.
to flow.
Okay.
So these are all just mixed, the same consistency. You can lay them different. You can depending on how you lay them down, is what kind of outcome you're gonna have. So these are all just piggies.
I can see
Aren't they
the
amazing?
sheen
Look.
coming off of this.
Look at that piggy.
That's incredible.
It is incredible. I'm gonna put her just in the middle. I just want her right there. And then we're gonna put this.
You can see how each one would be so unique.
They do. They have a sheer, they have different colors depending on what you mix them with as well for what's gonna happen. And it's so fun. You don't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to. So this is the magic. This is the magic right here. This is what you need to do step by step. You cannot make a mistake. It will not work if you don't. Look how thin this is.
So it needs to be this consistency.
Yes, it needs to be that consistency. This is a mixture of Floetrol, which is a paint thinner, glue-all, or school glue, you can use that as well. Amsterdam paint, you have to have specific paint. You cannot use dollar store. You can. Some people may, but Amsterdam, you're. So I have to order that in because you can't buy Amsterdam around here. And then Minwax oil.
Oh,
there's so many drops.
There's so many.
Yes.
And you have to be just
Yes.
specific.
There's one part of this, two part of that, and yeah. So it is. This is called your cell activator, and this is what creates your cells. All of this stuff and this lacing, this is the magic.
Okay.
Right?
So this is our last step.
This is the last step before me. So you're just gonna put it in the middle.
I can see now why it takes so long to dry.
Yes,
Layers.
So everything is there in the middle. We can get rid of our air bubbles before we, there's not too many. And this is the fun part. Now I'm gonna blow it out. So I'm not gonna use a hair dryer. Some people use a hair dryer. Some people use a straw. I'm just gonna use my mouth, okay?
Wow.
All right.
This is incredible.
So the cell activator in the middle is what is gonna create all the effect. Do you see them?
Oh my gosh, look at this. Jennie, that's incredible. It's a bloom. I can see it. Look at the bloom. This is beautiful.
And here's where the fun comes. We'll just let it set, let that cell activator get activated, and you'll see all the little cells and the lacing coming. And it is because of this. So the more I spin, the harder I spin, the bigger the bloom will go. So if I don't want to lose too much, I'll spin less. If I want it to stretch, I'd spin more.
And so what are you going to do?
I'm just gonna spin.
Okay,
and you're gonna watch. You'll see the paint going.
And you go different directions, okay. Look where the orange landed. That is amazing.
I don't want to spin too much because, as you can see, the paint's starting to come. And I don't want you guys to wear it. So I'll just stretch it out over the edge.
It is incredible that you can single out each of the colors that you used.
And I mean,
And they landed where they needed to be.
just where you want them to be.
Jennie, thank you so much.
I did it.
Thank you so much for doing
Thank
this
you.
for us.
Thank you for letting
Why?
me.
Because this is such a vulnerable and intimate thing that you do normally at home.
You just pray. We call it the praying gods. You know, the paint gods. You hope that it works.
It's beyond worked out.
Thank you.